Salutations, Niajah. Greetings, greetings, greetings. I am so happy to do a quick video for you today. Actually, this is my second time doing it. It doesn't matter. This is my second time. So here, we're going to be doing Martin Luther King Jr., getting prepared for the fact that it's his birthday next month. And I'd like you to have kind of reviewed it so it's a bit more fresh on your mind. And it can be something that you can do before you go to bed, okay? So, it's Martin Luther King Jr. by Will Mara, okay? Do you remember anything from last year that we learned about Martin Luther King? You can tell me. Did you remember he was a civil rights leader? Did you remember he was from Atlanta, Georgia, and went to Morehouse College? You didn't? But I bet you remember his I Have a Dream speech. Yes, I know you. I know you're a scholar. Good job, Niajah. Okay, so let's take a look here. When we think of heroes, we think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay? So you see that page? And he's really talking to a lot of people because a lot of people listen to him. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was an African American man who worked hard to make life better for all Americans. So you see him? He's walking here and he's leading people to justice. Okay? Dr. King was born in Atlanta, Georgia in 1929. He was a very smart child. He finished high school earlier than his classmates. You see? Now, this is the house where he grew up in. They've actually turned it into a museum because people want to kind of go and see, or this is the house where he used to live. So they want to go and kind of be like, wow, is this where he slept? And what did that look like? So it's a museum that we can actually visit in Georgia. So yes, it is actually the birth home of Martin Luther King. So you see? Okay, let's take a look. In college, Dr. King decided to become a minister. A minister is someone who teaches people about God. Okay, so let's take a look. So where would he be teaching? I don't know. Let's look in the back. You see a choir with robes on, and they're reading from hymnals. Where do you think they are? That's right. If you guess church, that's exactly where they are. They're in church. And guess who else was a minister? Martin Luther King's father was a minister, and his sons are now ministers as well. Actually, his sons and daughters. He has children that they all have taken on the family trade of ministry. Okay? So all his life, Dr. King saw that many African Americans were treated badly just because they were black. This kind of treatment is called racism. So racism is when people are treated unfairly because of the color of their skin. It's not a very good choice. It's not something that we do, right? We talk about all the things we have in common, and God asks everybody to love everyone equally, okay? So it was under a law called segregation that wasn't very kind. All right, so here we go. Now, there was a lot of racism in the United States at the time. African Americans were not allowed to shop in the same stores as white people. African American children were not even allowed to go to the same schools as white children. That was this rule called separate but equal. And it was not fair. The government eventually helped decide that separate is not equal and decided to integrate, and everyone is allowed to go to school together. So you see these African American students coming out of the school building. Okay. So they were going to a different school than their friends. Dr. King spoke to large groups of people and told them racism was wrong. He led peaceful marches through the streets. So remember, even though there were lots of people, they were always peaceful. They weren't looking to cause problems. They weren't looking to be mean. So when the government or when people were mean to them, rather than being mean back, what they did is they said, you know what, I'm going to make a different choice. I'm going to be kind and I'm going to be loving, even though you may have done something that's hurtful. So even sometimes when I make mistakes and you get upset with me, you're like, Mommy, I don't like that choice. I don't like that you did that. It hurt my feelings. That's being like Martin Luther King, because what you're doing is being peaceful. Okay? So you don't fight fire with fire, you fight fire with water. Okay? In 1963, he talked to more than 250,000 people in Washington, D.C. He said the words, "I have a dream." Dr. King's dream was to end racism. Those words became very famous. You see? Many people did not like Dr. King. They sent him letters saying they hated him. Someone even threw a bomb into his house. So that was a really, really bad choice, right? It's not right to destroy other people's belongings, okay? So here, Dr. King was brave. He never stopped trying to end racism. He asked the government to pass laws to help African Americans. So who's the government? So we know that President Trump is our president now, but President Barack Obama was a president as well. So the president is the leader of the government. So what he would do is he would go and sit and talk to the president and say, "Hey, I don't feel that we're being treated fairly." And I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of people, and we like to see a difference, okay? So that was one of the things that he was doing, okay? So when you want to see a difference in your community or in your neighborhood, one of the things you do is you reach out to the representatives in government that are responsible for making the decisions on our behalf. So that's what Martin Luther King was doing, and that's what made him a leader, and not just a leader, but a hero. In 1964, the United States passed a new law. It was called the Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights Act said that African Americans had to be treated the same way as everyone else. So he was saying everyone needs to be treated fairly. Okay? Everyone has to be treated fairly. And what he was doing, he was actually following the leadership of another leader named Mahatma Gandhi, who was Indian and was working in South Africa throughout the world to establish a whole humanitarian movement to say, hey, everyone needs to be treated equally and fairly, and they should feel loved and they should feel accepted. And the bigger word is everyone should feel included. Okay? Everyone should feel included and feel like they matter. Okay, so see this page here? Okay, so this is important. It's a little bit sad too. Dr. King spent the rest of his life trying to end racism. He was shot and killed in 1968 by someone who did not agree with him. Millions of people all over the world cried for him. So when people got upset and were unable to identify with what he was saying, or they didn't agree, rather than trying to sit down and talk to him about it, they shot and killed him. It was called an assassination. That wasn't a very good choice. God wouldn't have been God is not happy about that. Today, we celebrate a holiday named for Dr. King. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is celebrated on the third Monday of January. Okay, so you see, on this day, we remember Dr. King's dream to end racism. We also remember to try to make his dream come true. See that? And what are some symbols we see? We see a peace sign. We see all kind of other signs in here. Okay. So his dream, even though he's passed away, we have the power to keep his dream alive by keep his spirit alive by honoring his dream and saying, hey, let's make sure we all get along and let's be kind to one another and let's offer love to one another. Okay. Now, these are some important key terms that you may have heard while I was reading. Government. Okay, that's a multisyllabic word. It has 3 syllables. Do you want to clap it out? Okay, let's try to clap it. Government. Government. Very good. Very good. Hero. Hero. Right? Hero. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Minister. Minister. Very good. I have a dream speech. Say it. I have a dream speech. Very good. Martin Luther King Jr. Let's say it. Martin Luther King Jr. Very good. Peaceful marches. Peaceful marches. And racism. Can you say it? Racism. That's not a good word. That's not a word that we get happy about because racism hurts others, right? So we want to make sure that we make good choices, that we are always representing God, right? And we're honoring the spirit of Martin Luther King because it's a spirit that stood for universal love. All right. So now what I'd like you to do is to go get a pen and a piece of paper. All right. I'm going to wait a second while you get it, or actually you can pause the video. If you need to, get a pen and a piece of paper, and you're going to go ahead and we're going to just answer a really quick question for me, okay? All right, so you can pause the video if you need to go and get your pen and paper. All right, so now that you have your pen and paper, let's get started. So what's the first thing we do when we're going to write an assignment? Yes, you're absolutely right. We make sure we write our name and date on our paper because if we do not head our paper properly, how will anyone know who wrote it? So that's why it's important for you to make sure you head your paper. So you're going to write your name and date, and then you're also going to write the subject. This is reading and social studies. Reading and social studies. So you can ask your dad to help you spell it if you need to. Okay? So now, we're looking at a key figure. Who's the key figure we're looking at? That's right, Martin Luther King. Okay? So we're learning about Martin Luther King. Okay? So now, here's our prompt. And I didn't say question because it's not phrased as a question. So, but it's still asking you to do something. Okay? So, name 3 facts. It's not a question that will require a question mark, is what I should say. Name 3 facts that you remember about Martin Luther King. Okay? 3 facts. And I've already highlighted the keywords. So what I want you to do is take the keywords out of the question, just like we practiced before, and you're going to use that to start your beginning sentence, okay? So it says 3 facts that you remember about Martin Luther King. Well, some of those keywords are 3 facts that remember about Martin Luther King. So now we're going to start with the topic sentence because remember, we always respond in a what? Did you say complete sentence? If you did, you're absolutely correct. We always respond in a complete sentence. So now, in order to make that a complete sentence, what do we have to say? We have to take our keywords, right? We have to take our keywords and put it into a sentence. So our keywords were 3 facts, remember, about Martin Luther King. Let's see. Let's start a topic sentence. Here we go. And since you're writing a paragraph, right, we're going to start with the topic sentence. So you're going to say, I remember 3 facts about Martin Luther King, actually Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, I remember 3 facts about Martin Luther King Jr. Can you repeat that sentence for me? That is your topic sentence. Let me hear you say it. A little bit louder. All right, good job, very good job. Okay, so now you're going to write 3 supporting details to support your topic sentence. So first, you're going to say, the first thing I remember about Martin Luther King Jr. is, and then you tell me the first fact you remember, okay? Once you finish your sentence, you're going to put a period behind it, okay? Now, we'll do the second one. Then for your second sentence, you can say, second, or also, I remember, or you can say, I also remember, or you can say, the second thing I remember, and then you're going to write in that sentence, okay? And what do you put at what do you use to start your sentences with? That's right, a capital letter. and there has to be punctuation at the end. So that means you're going to be writing a period, exclamation point, or question. You shouldn't be answering any questions to respond to you shouldn't be asking any questions to respond to a question. So the question mark is out. And for the most part, you're just telling. Okay? And unless it's a fact that you're really, really excited about, you don't have to use an exclamation point. Okay? And so then the third one, so then the last detail you're going to do, you're either going to say third or finally. Okay? You're going to say either third or finally. Okay? So you can say third or finally. Okay? So the third thing I remember, or the final thing, or the last thing I remember about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is, okay? And then you'll write that. And then you're going to pull it all together with the conclusion sentence, okay? You'll pull it all together with the conclusion sentence. And the conclusion sentence says, today I learned about Martin Luther King Jr. and I remembered 3 important facts, okay? Today I learned about Martin Luther King Jr. and I remembered 3 important facts. Okay, so Niajah, that'll wrap up this book in this quick question. And that quick question, if you're doing it at night, if you're watching this at night right before you go to bed, you can watch it, and then maybe you and your dad can do the question tomorrow, or the next day, or if you're doing it early in the day, go ahead and finish it up. Okay, so I love you tremendously. Okay, I love you around to the moon, the sun, around every star, and into the galaxy. Okay, into the galaxy and beyond. So I love you infinity. Okay, so I pray that you have a blessed day, my love. All right, hugs and kisses. Have a beautiful day. Peace.